Hi guys, if you missed class today and missed our project launch, or if you just needed to click back through and have a review of the information we talked about in our project launch today, then this video is going to walk you through the beginning of the Dear Editor project. So the first thing that you need as far as supplies right now is you need your English notebook and you need something to write with so that you can write down a couple of notes and answer a couple of questions. You can pause for a second while you gather your supplies. Once you have your notebook and once you have your writing utensil, in your notebook, you're going to answer these 3 questions. So in order to answer these 3 questions, you're thinking about what you have learned so far in the argument structure focus area. So pause the video, write down your answers, and when you're done, you can unpause. So to answer the first question, how do you define an argument? We often think of an argument the way we use the word in normal day-to-day language, and that's whenever you basically have a fight with someone, right? When you have a disagreement. But the way you define an argument in the academic sense of the term is creating a structured argument, a structured version of your opinion, and then backing that up with claims. 3 pieces of a good argument. You might have written down claim, evidence, subclaim, counterclaim, rebuttal. Those are just a couple of examples from the argument structure focus area that you might have written down as far as pieces of a good argument. And the difference between a logical and illogical argument, a logical argument, when you follow logic, then you're making sense. It's organized in a manner that makes sense and flows together. Your evidence that you use is strong evidence that clearly supports your claim. Illogical would be the opposite. It is not logical. So maybe it's just a rant where someone is just going off about an opinion that they have. Or maybe it doesn't flow in a way that makes sense. Or maybe they use weak or illogical evidence that doesn't really support their claim. So our goal with an argument is that we have a logical argument that makes sense to the audience that we're trying to appeal to. So you are going to watch a quick video of the Argument Clinic sketch by a comedic group called Monty Python, who is a little bit before your time, but still very funny. And in this video, you're going to see a man who goes to an argument clinic in order to pay to have an argument. So as you're watching this video, you're going to consider, is what you're seeing an argument or not? Okay? So you can get to the video by going to the project and going to the resources in Checkpoint 1. There is a resource that is called the Dear Editor Entry Event. And that's what you're going to click on. The Dear Editor Entry Event is going to open up these slides that I'm going through right now. And on slide 4 is where you have the video. So your project, Checkpoint 1, and then the Dear Editor Entry Event has the video for you. You're going to pause this video so that you can play the Monty Python sketch. And as you're watching, you're going to make note of, is what you're seeing an actual argument according to what we talked about on the previous slide, that it has to have a structure. You need to have a claim, evidence, a counterclaim. You have to have subclaims. Is the Monty Python example, is their skit that they did actually an argument? Why or why not? So go ahead and pause and watch that video right now. So you just finished watching the Monty Python sketch and thinking about whether that was an argument or not. And hopefully you said that it was not an argument, or that it was an illogical argument. All that was happening in that video was a contradiction. They were disagreeing with one another, but there wasn't an actual argument in the academic sense of the term. During class, some people said that it was an argument because they were disagreeing. And in our day-to-day use of the word argument, we might call that an argument, right? You're just disagreeing and going back and forth. But that is not an argument. It is just a disagreement. It is just a contradiction. So keep that in mind if you do find yourself in a loop like that with someone, where you're just disagreeing with one another. Make sure that you are stating your claim, stating your subclaim, giving reasons, providing evidence for why you think what you think. That is what will truly create an argument. So our project connection, in our project, we are going to be examining and evaluating an argument in a news article. You're going to use that example as a model for your own writing. So checkpoint 1, which is what we're starting today, is where you're going to evaluate an argument. After you complete checkpoint 1, we'll start with the checkpoint 2 through the rest of the project, and in those checkpoints, you will be creating your own argument, and you'll choose a complex topic that has two sides. You'll do research to find evidence, you'll come up with your own opinion, and you'll write an op-ed or an opinion editorial where you are stating your argument. And you're writing that for like an adult viewership, people that would want to learn about that issue and learn about that topic. The rest of these slides go through and help you review the vocabulary for the project. For example, claims and subclaims. If you need information about these key terms, you can look in the argument structure focus area, but your main claim is like your big claim. It is your main opinion. And your subclaim is your claim that is your reason supporting that opinion. Often your subclaim comes after the word because. This is my opinion because of this reason. Then you support that claim and that subclaim with your evidence. Your evidence might be an opinion by an expert. It might be statistics that prove your point. It might be a personal anecdote or observation that you've made around the world or about the world around you. And then you provide your justification, which is when you justify that evidence and explain why is that evidence important. So what? Who cares? Why is that important to support your claim? Then you want to make sure that you're using quality evidence. So in checkpoint 1, when you evaluate another argument, someone else's argument, we're going to be looking at whether or not that evidence is relevant. Does the evidence matter to this claim? Is it connected to this claim? You're going to be looking at whether it's credible. Is it believable and from a trustworthy source? And last, you're going to be looking at, is this evidence sufficient? Is it enough to convince the audience? These three are not in the key terms in the Quizlet in argument structure, so if you want to replay the definitions for these and write those down, that would be a good idea. These three terms are all how you're going to be scored with this cognitive skill, so you want to make sure that you understand how evidence is relevant, how it's credible, and how it's sufficient. Last, your argument has to have a counterclaim. And it seems weird, right? Like, if I'm trying to convince you of my opinion, why would I give you someone else's opinion? Why would I give you the other side of this issue? But that's important because it helps people listen to you. They know that you know that yours isn't the only opinion out there and that other people might think something else. Then your rebuttal is when you prove that that counterclaim is not true or not correct in your opinion. So you can think of that, since it has the word but in there, you can think of that as your, yeah, but here's why you're wrong. Okay, so that rebuttal is like your response to that counterclaim. So today, after we did that, we were able to move over to our project, and we only had time in most classes to read the very first paragraph of the text that we're going to be evaluating. So the next thing that you can do is to follow these steps to open your project, click on the checkpoint 1 tab, and then go down to the resources to open this text, this resource. And if you'll just read the first paragraph, that's as far as we got today, and that will catch you up to where we are here in class.